You're watching your primetime news bulletin. Up next is Action TV.
Although the Mahaweli Development Scheme, the grandest development initiative undertaken in the country post-independence, was completed within 6 years, its intended objectives are yet to be fulfilled. These objectives will be fulfilled on the day that the waters of the Mahaweli Scheme flow to the Batticaloa district and nourish new agrarian settlements there. Although the foundation was laid in 1983 for the provision of water from the Mahaweli Scheme to areas coming under the purview of the Vakare Divisional Secretariat through the Madroya Reservoir, bringing the benefits of the scheme to the people of the East, with the outbreak of war, the scheme was limited to the areas coming under the purview of the Walikanda Divisional Secretariat in the Polonnaruwa district. In 1989, with the Mahaweli portfolio coming under the late Gamini Athukorala, 2 new agrarian settlements were established around the waterway, which was meant to carry water from the Mahaweli Scheme to the Vakare area. 350 families were settled in the 2 new settlements, which were named Ransar Thanna and Ranmini Thanna. However, when the war aggravated once again, the 2 settlements fell into decline. With the announcing of a ceasefire in 2001, the 2 settlements were resettled as one named Ominia Madu. Tragedy struck the sparsely populated settlement of Ominia Madu following the recommencement of hostilities in 2005, when a group of workers entrusted with renovating the waterways and constructing 2 reservoirs for the settlement joined the civilian victims of the war. However, less than a year after this incident, civil administration was re-established in the east, providing a fortuitous opportunity to re-establish the settlement at Ominia Madu and continue with the original plan to take the waters of the Madroya Reservoir up to Vakare. However, 6 years after the incident, in the present, only one of the 2 proposed reservoirs in Ominia Madu have been constructed. Since coming here as a farmer, I have not been able to cultivate the land as I would have wished. We sowed soya seeds over about 1 or 2 acres, but they did not take root. We are facing severe hardships and we have not received any support or assistance from the government as yet. Over a year has passed now since 8 farmers settled in Ominia Madu, believing that they could find some water for agriculture or putting their faith in the Mahaweli authority to provide them with water. When will preparations be made to gift the settlement of Ominia Madu, for which unarmed civilians gifted their lives, with water from the Mahaweli Scheme? Minister of Irrigation and Water Resource Management, this is over to you.
A suspect has been arrested in connection with a shooting incident that took place between supporters of 2 factions of the same political party in Chavakatcheri yesterday.
A senior police officer in Jaffna said the suspect who was being taken into custody is the father of the chief UPFA candidate for the Northern Provincial Council, Angajan Ramanathan.
The police has also seized the vehicle that was used in the attack carried out yesterday. The senior police officer also said that the police would take steps to produce the suspect in court. Meanwhile, a police team has been deployed to conduct investigations into the incident. Police media spokesperson SP Buddhikasiri Bodhana said the shooting incident took place last night near a political party office in Chavakatcheri. The police said that a bystander at the office was injured in the foot in this shooting incident. The police media spokesperson added that the clash broke out between 2 factions of the same political party.
Meanwhile, a media briefing was convened today regarding last night's shooting in Chavakatcheri. The media briefing was convened by UPFA Jaffna district candidates for the Northern Provincial Council.
We have plenty of evidence. There are eyewitnesses. We have statements recorded by the police and other forms of evidence. Following the incident, a group of TNA parliamentarians and candidates came here. Candidates from the EPDP also came here. The EPDP minister came here and has briefed the president on this incident as well. When it comes to being victims of firearms, we are all people and we are all affected the same. We do not want a culture of firearms. Today, 1 weapon was used and tomorrow maybe 5 will be used, and it could even grow to 10 weapons being used in future incidents. Therefore, the weapon must be taken away from him and he must be brought before the law. He must be punished. Regardless of who gave him the weapon, it could be the government or anyone else, but it must be made clear to us as to why this gun was given to him. Clashes should only be ideological. If someone wants to be victorious, he should express his ideas and win the people over. He should not resort to violence and thuggery. We were affected by the war for 30 years and we are now free of that and in a good position. You should not come here from Colombo and display your thuggery. No matter which party they are from, we oppose political thuggery. First, the people must have trust in us. No one should possess firearms. Whether they are the candidate or not, weapons cannot be carried in Jaffna. The people should not be made to fear. If such a situation arises, then we will return to the pre-2009 war era.
Book containing records of elephants and tuskers in the island goes missing. Yesterday, Director General of Wildlife claims that the book containing data on wild elephants and tuskers has been found. Today,
the book has not been found. It was a different book that was found. The relevant book has not been found. Various people cannot say that the book has been found.
What is the true story behind the missing record book?
Today, the Sri Lanka rupee depreciated to its lowest level against the US dollar.
Information from the foreign exchange market reveals that the rupee depreciated close to 135 rupees against the dollar.
The dollar, which was valued at 133 rupees and 20 to 30 cents this morning, had increased in value to close to 135 rupees by this afternoon. Information from the forex market reveals that this is the biggest daily depreciation that the rupee has ever undergone. Prior to this, in mid-last year, the rupee depreciated to 134 rupees and 70 cents against the US dollar. Reuters news agency reports that the depreciation of the rupee is being attributed to increased import demand for the US dollar, the sale of government bonds by foreign investors and exporters holding onto their dollars. Meanwhile, the Colombo Stock Exchange, which recorded significant losses last week, saw sharp losses today as well. The benchmark all-share price index slid 170.14 points by the close of trading. The loss was attributed to the fall in the share prices of the several key listed companies. Over the past 1.5 weeks, the ASPI has recorded a total loss of 451.52 points.
US Vice President Joe Biden has said that there is no doubt that the Syrian government had used chemical weapons and that the Assad regime must be held accountable.
Biden's comments make him the highest-ranking US official to accuse the Syrian regime over the large-scale attack, which is thought to have killed hundreds.
A team of United Nations inspectors left their Damascus hotel and headed to the scene of a suspected chemical weapons strike on the suburbs outside the capital last week. The team resumed their investigation after being shot at by unknown snipers during their first inspection in the suburb. Opponents of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad said his forces used rockets loaded with poison gas in the middle of a fierce offensive on the Damascus outskirts, with activists putting the death toll between 500 and more than 1,000. Assad denies the charges. The increasing likelihood of action within days met with defiance in Damascus, with regime officials pledging to fight any attack with surprise measures, while Syrian allies Russia and Iran warned of dire consequences. Moscow and Beijing accuse Western powers of using human rights complaints such as Libya to meddle in sovereign state affairs.
Top seed Novak Djokovic of Serbia lived up to his ranking by playing to near perfection in overwhelming Lithuanian Ricardas Berankis 6-1, 6-2, 6-2 in his opening match at the US Open in New York.
The world number one committed only 2 unforced errors before getting a little sloppy toward the end of the third set, finishing with 9 miscues against 28 winners, including 10 aces. The 26-year-old Serb, the reigning Australian Open champion and runner-up at Wimbledon, will play Germany's Benjamin Becker in the second round. Former champion Sam Stosur was bundled out of the US Open by American teenager Victoria Duval on Tuesday. The 11th seeded Australian was defeated 5-7, 6-4, 6-4 by the 17-year-old qualifier in the first major upset of the women's event. In the last match of the night session, women's second seed Victoria Azarenka of Belarus won 6-love, 6-love against Dina Fitzenmeyer of Germany. Azarenka, seeking her second Grand Slam title of the year after winning in Australia, had to fight hard against the 21-year-old German, despite the apparent ease shown by the scoreline.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of your Primetime News Bulletin. Thanks a lot for joining us. Sam Shane Silva.
And I'm Nicola De Zoiza. Have a good night.
At 9.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.